All right, let's talk about what happened in Arizona. Because on paper, it was a memorial service for a man, Charlie Kirk, a time for family, friends, and supporters to grieve. But what unfolded was something else entirely. It wasn't a funeral, it was a rally. And frankly, annoyed, it was one of the most chilling political displays we've seen in a long time. This is the story of how grief was hijacked and turned into a weapon. First, you have to understand the scale of this thing. This wasn't a church service. This was a mega event. We're talking tens of thousands of people flocking to a massive stadium, some waiting in line since before the sun came up.
God bless America.
I just asked that question. I'm not getting actually filmed right where my line is.
A crowd that size brings a certain energy. But this wasn't just energy. It was a political statement. And the main event wasn't a eulogy. It was a campaign speech.
So Donald Trump just turned the Charlie Kirk funeral into a campaign rally to divide people even more. What do I mean by that? He had the opportunity to speak at Charlie Kirk's funeral. So what did he talk about? He talked about how the 2020 election was stolen, which it wasn't. He talked about and bragged about how he was going to send the National Guard into Chicago and into Memphis and other places. He bragged about how safe Washington, D.C. is. He attacked Joe Biden. He attacked the radical left. Sounded exactly like one of his campaign rallies. Why? Because Donald Trump has no empathy. Now, I was never a Charlie Kirk fan. I've been very clear on that. But even I got emotional on the day that Charlie Kirk was attacked and lost his life. Donald Trump can't do that. Even at a funeral, he made it about himself, and he attacked the left, and he divided us even further, because this is a very mentally ill man that has no empathy. But then again, it was Charlie Kirk that said empathy is a bad thing anyway.
He's not wrong, but it was even deeper than that. As people started to see the stage, the banners, the sheer spectacle of it all, a very specific and very ugly comparison began to emerge. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. This isn't just some random person on the internet. This is someone who stood on the actual grounds of Hitler's rallies, who toured Dachau and said, "I've seen this before." And it wasn't good. She called it a propaganda spectacle. And looking at the evidence, it's hard to argue. This is the language people were forced to use, because what they were seeing wasn't subtle. It was a calculated use of imagery to evoke power, nationalism, and something far more sinister. And the speakers only amplified it. This wasn't about mourning. It was about martyrdom.
The light will defeat the dark. We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil. They cannot imagine what they have awakened. They cannot conceive of the army that they have arisen in all of us. Because we stand for what is good, what is virtuous, what is noble. And to those trying to incite violence against us, those trying to foment hatred against us, what do you have? You have nothing. You are nothing. You are wickedness, you are jealousy, you are envy, you are hatred. You are nothing. You can build nothing. You can produce nothing. You can create nothing. We are the ones who build. We are the ones who create. We are the ones who lift up humanity. You thought you could kill Charlie Kirk? You have made him immortal. You have immortalized Charlie Kirk. And now millions will carry on his legacy. And we will devote the rest of our lives to finishing the causes for which Charlie gave his last measure of devotion. You cannot defeat us. You cannot slow us. You cannot stop us. You cannot deter us. We will carry Charlie and Erika in our heart every single day and fight that much harder because of what you did to us. You have no idea the dragon you have awakened. You have no idea how determined we will be to save this civilization, to save the West, to save this republic.
I forgive him. On the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do." That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Do you see the performance? The raw emotion of a grieving widow immediately co-opted for a political photo op? It's a masterclass in manipulation, turning a personal tragedy into a call for political retribution. And the people watching were absolutely disgusted by the cynicism of it all.
Unhinged. Unhinged. Did you see this? This is absolutely unhinged. Erika Kirk posted a video of her kissing his dead hands in his open casket. Unhinged. When my brother died after a motorcycle accident when he was 20, and we had to go to the funeral home to look at his body and his makeup because we had open casket. It was my mom, my grandma, and I. Well, after I passed out, you know what I wasn't thinking about? I wasn't thinking about taking pictures. I definitely wasn't thinking about posting pictures. I was grieving. I didn't even know what was going on. And I am almost convinced that this is all part of a plan, because he wanted to go down as a martyr, and they are trying to incite a civil war. How many parents have shared online pictures of their kids' little dead bodies after they were gunned down in a school? We should release the video, because I'm sure there's video footage in Minnesota of the assassination and attempted assassination of the lawmakers there, because obviously people saw what happened in Utah, and so I understand that there's going to be a reaction after so many people saw it happen. But maybe that's why there's not a reaction for the lawmakers in Minnesota, because they didn't see it. But I'm sure it was identical to what we watched in Utah. This is unhinged, absolutely and utterly unhinged. It is disgusting. And you know, she posted that fiery comment and that the press conference, I don't know what it was, basically a call to action that if you loved Charlie and you are a young person, do what Charlie would want you to do. And then she posts this. It's dangerous. It is dangerous. It's shameful. It is absolutely shameful.
Y'all can't tell me that wasn't a political rally. Y'all cannot tell me they did not use that man's funeral to rally up the base. Y'all cannot tell me they played with God in that damn room, walking around with a fucking cross. Are you Jesus? Saying that this man is immortal and that we will avenge him and we have to take back our country. Baby, it's giving Klan. It was reminding me of something that I saw in movies that I thought I would never see in person. And yes, there was some Uncle Toms in the room. You know, black Christians feel like they Christian before they black, and they ignore their blackness and they become political pawns. And when they're no longer needed, it's going to be too late. I do have to say this to black Christians that support CK and the far right. When it's time to get put in chains and pick up your job description, your ass better be in line first. That was a political rally. And honestly, I hope this man can rest and people can stop using his name to enforce violence. But what do I know? Y'all don't listen to black women anyways.
And what about the faithful followers who came to pay their respects? What legacy did they leave behind? This.
Look at all this trash left outside of Charlie Kirk's memorial in Glendale, Arizona. People left water bottles and chairs. They left wagons. They left snacks. All of it just littered across the ground. State Farm Arena has a no bag policy, not just clear bags, no bags. And that means folks who were out here since early this morning just left all their stuff out here. I don't know who's going to clean it up. Crowds of literally hundreds and thousands of people are just walking over this trash on their way to the security checkpoints.
So I come to Charlie Kirk's funeral, and this is what these people that come to Charlie's Kirk funeral does, and then they make these people clean it up. How utterly disrespectful is this? Look what you guys did. Y'all are wrong for this. Look at this. At Charlie Kirk's funeral. Despicable.
Chairs, they left wagons, they left snacks, all of it just littered across the chairs. They left wagons, they left snacks, all of it just littered across the chairs. They left wagons, they left snacks, all of it just littered across the crowds of literally hundreds and thousands of people are just walking over this trash on their way to the security checkpoints. Crowds of literally hundreds and thousands of people are just walking over this trash on their way to the security checkpoints. Crowds of literally hundreds.
I just went undercover at a Charlie Kirk vigil 20 minutes from my house. As someone who has always been against Charlie Kirk and everything that he has stood for, I went into this with an open mind, with the intention, I should say, of being open-minded. That intention is gone. This vigil, which I will also be uploading videos of, was divisive. It was filled with divisive rhetoric. They targeted Islamic people. They targeted transgender people. They targeted anyone who was not a Christian. I will add these videos. I'm going through the videos right now. My camera is right here and my iPad is charging. I recorded the entire thing. We had a public official say that during his workday, he would watch Turning Point USA. Under the taxpayer's dime. Some of the comments, there were grown women sobbing. Yes, Jesus, yes, Jesus. Followed by a pastor talking about cotton candy priests and how transgender people, 70% of transgender people are aged 13 to 17 or some wildly inaccurate statistic. I just got home. I'm trying to decompress and just process what I just witnessed. Oh God. Nobody recognized me. Oh, my contact's falling out. Yeah, my contact just fell out. Nobody recognized me though. That was kind of one of my worries with this is somebody going to recognize me? I'm very vocal and adamant. I've always been someone who opposed Charlie Kirk and Turning Point. I would not want to be remembered with a vigil like the one I just saw for Charlie Kirk.
So let's call this what it was. It wasn't a memorial. It was a declaration of war on anyone who doesn't fit their narrow, white, Christian, nationalist worldview.
Look, I know this is going to hurt some people's feelings, but it needs to be said. Charlie Kirk just had his life taken last week. And at his memorial today, his wife Erika got up and said she forgives the man who took her husband's life. She said that's what Jesus would do. Yeah, I get it. On the surface, it can look very powerful and moving. But if you look closer, who benefits from forgiveness that fast? Because not only 3 days later, she's back on his show, continuously smiling, and suddenly she's being nominated as the new head of Turning Point. And people are saying she is more conservative than Charlie ever was. But to me, it looks less like conviction and more like she just backs a specific nation a whole lot harder. The same nation that Charlie himself was starting to distance from in his final days. This isn't mourning. This is marketing. It's all about hijacking your emotions, wrapping it in scripture, and telling you to stay docile and quiet while corruption walks free. Also, let's not forget that Charlie pushed for the harshest punishments, even sometimes done publicly. So would he really have wanted instant forgiveness? Or is this just narrative control dressed up as holiness? Don't fall for it, because this isn't about Christ. It's about control.
So let's call this what it was. It wasn't a memorial. It was a declaration of war on anyone who doesn't fit their narrow, white, Christian, nationalist worldview. R.I.P. to Charlie Kirk, and may his soul rest in peace. Prayers goes out to him and his family.